Tuesday night, 10 p.m., and this is the C3 Podcast.
I guess you heard my reputation. I've had my share of fooling around. But everybody needs stimulation.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, man, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
Good Lord, it's a good day to be a Panthers fan. And we the best. You heard them. You heard them say it. We are the best, Joe. And we put it on them right in the mouth. That is right, Joe. We are the best. And this is the C3 Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's Tuesday night. It's 10 o'clock, and it's time for us to talk Carolina Panthers from the fan perspective. We do it as a family, as a community, and I'm here with the two main cornerstones of that community tonight, Joe Riolano and Mel Mayock. Joe, what is up?
Man, it is a wonderful Tuesday night here in the Low Country. God bless us with a gorgeous day today. I've been looking forward to this podcast all day long. I get to see my homies. Mel, I'm green with envy because of where you are tonight. Why don't you let everyone know where you're at and why we should all be jealous?
Aloha. Mel Mayock coming to you live from the beautiful state of Hawaii. This is a nice little Mai Tai drink for you, and I'll enjoy it on your behalf. How about that? But, hey, it's only 4 o'clock out here in the islands where it's 10 o'clock back east, so I still got a lot to do today, but glad to be with you guys, man. It's the best afternoon of the week, we'll say that.
For sure.
I see people repping already on Twitter. What's up, Susan? Glad to have you with us tonight. You can, as usual, tweet the show using the hashtag C3. If you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you if you already have. Leave a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a share. We have been growing tremendously over the last year, and tonight we're going to continue to grow as we have a fantastic show for you. Episode 16.13. Short sale is the market play, fellas. We're going to be talking about Kawann's short potential or the work to extend him. The reports are negotiations have begun. We'll talk about at what expense that has cost and what expense it could incur going forward. In the second half of the show, we've got a special guest, Sean Isabella from the News Star. And the News Star is a Louisiana newspaper in Monroe, Louisiana, and we brought him on tonight to talk about our number one draft pick, Vernon Butler. So we're going to get a little feedback, a little insight. They're already commenting about the dress, Mel.
They beat me to it. I got to say, that is the most professional that you have ever looked on this podcast. By far. Look at Sharp, man. Look at Sharp.
I just got done with graduation, and it was, now I know what it feels like to be one of my students.
Dude, you're trying to keep up with your son is what it is, man. Did everybody out there see how sharp the professor's son looked at his first confirmation pictures? Man, look at
smooth. Smooth.
Yeah, he was.
He is the head player.
He is. He is definitely that. You guys can go ahead and comment on YouTube. I need to get the comments pulled up. But let's just go ahead and get into the show, guys. Know what's hot music tonight. I didn't pull it up, and I'm not going to go find it. So this is what's hot on C3.
Way to work it there.
The number one story out right now, and there's not many. This is a quiet time for the Carolina Panthers.
However, let me just jump in there. When it's quiet and every other show out there is taking time off, relaxing, chilling, what is C3 doing? We're bringing it to you every week, baby. We're the only podcast out there every single week talking Panthers, so thanks for joining us.
That's the truth. And yes, and you know what is that the audience for over the last couple of weeks has been tremendous. Last week we had Max Henson on the show, Mel, and tell him how well the show did in just a single 24 hours.
I mean, single 24 hours, we had over 650 views, which is really, really tight, and up around 1,000 right now at that point. So if you can't join us like Abby, every once in a while, Abby has some family friends come in. She blows off the C3 podcast. She could catch it the next day. You could catch us the next day. If you can't catch us every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock, take us with you to the gym. Mm-hmm. Take us with you in the car. You're laying out by the pool? Hey, nothing better than C3 hanging out with you, right?
Shakid, Joey, say it. Did I go ahead and get it? Shakid.
We have to have Shakid on the show some night because you have butchered that poor fella's name.
Time and time again.
You're right. Well, you know what I would say to this? If you guys got a problem with it, you monitor the YouTube comment.
He said the defensive back from the Patriots that used to play there now and then.
Oh, Kweli?
Oh, yeah. Those guys can't get their names said right on this show for the life of them.
No, they can't. So Shakid he said this. Shakid, he said the reason we can afford the money that not keeping Norman is going to Kawann. And trying to sign Star as well. All right, so let's jump. Tell us, Joey, we know that short has been the priority from the outset. We knew this coming out of the season. We knew he's a second-round draft pick. We only give him we only get 4 years at the second round. We get the fifth-year option on Star. So we get, like this year, I mean, it's time to extend Short or he hits the open market after this season, I believe. Right. It's not before the season, correct?
No, it would be after the season.
Okay. So we knew that this was on the horizon, and Dave Gettleman, it seems like they're making no bones about it. Joey, how important is this for the Carolina Panthers?
I think this is vital to the Carolina Panthers. Important is not a strong enough word. It is absolutely vital for them to be able to keep this defense at the level it is played. We have got to bring Short back, and he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid the money that that Josh Norman was wanting.
Would you pay him Sue? Would you pay him Sue money?
What's Sue making? 20?
Yep.
No, here, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I wouldn't pay him that much money. I'd pay him somewhere probably 15 to 17, which is close. That's plenty close.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know that I would pay him that kind of 20 million. I mean, that's Cam Newton quarterback money.
Right.
Okay, here it is. This is Sue's contract right now, and Ndamukong Suh he had a $114 million contract. He makes 19 a year with 59 million guaranteed.
Jesus.
52% of his contract was guaranteed. Next on the list is Marcel Darius, 95 million. He makes 15 million a year. He had 42 guaranteed. Gerald McCoy.
That's where the number.
Gerald McCoy drops tremendously. Is he still in his rookie? What's his deal? What contract is he in?
I think
he can't be in his rookie.
No, he's in his second.
He only got 14 million guaranteed.
He must be on the back end of it. You know what I mean?
He made 95 million total, 13 million a year, 14 million total guaranteed. Only 15% of his contract was guaranteed. Wow. Linville Joseph. What is the guy that went from Detroit? I meant not Carolyn? Detroit, from Denver. Who went from Denver? What was it he?
Jackson.
Yeah. He just signed a big deal.
He got.
Why is he not on this list? Oh, he's a 3-4 defensive tackle, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right, so he is making. Who's Jay Howard? Chiefs. the 3-4 defensive tackles make a lot less money, it seems like. So, all right, so say here, all right, so where are we going to say is we're putting him at under, obviously, he is not going to get paid. Dave Gettleman is not going to pay anybody. He didn't even pay Cam Newton and Ndamukong Suh money, really. I mean, it's about the same.
Right, he's right at it.
I mean, he made 59 guaranteed. That's what Cam got, like 64, right?
Right.
Guys, who do you think is the most valuable player on the Panthers defense? And I'd like to hear from folks out there in the Twitterverse.
It's Luke Kuechly.
And Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you think? You think?
Yeah, it's no doubt to me.
To me,
yeah, I agree.
To me,
proven.
To me, it's KK Short.
I mean,
more important than Luke Kuechly?
You can make that argument, Mel.
I agree.
There's an argument to be made there, but for me, it's Luke. There's no doubt.
To me, when you don't have defensive tackles in front of that linebacker, they're not nearly as effective.
You're right.
When that defensive tackle is in the backfield the way KK Short is, it changes everything. It makes your defensive ends better. It makes your linebackers better. It makes your cornerbacks better.
Okay.
To me, if I had to choose between the two, though I love Kuechly, to me the two players you have to keep on defense are Kuechly and Short.
I agree with that.
On offense, it's Cam and Benjamin, at least as of right now.
Certainly.
I could say that.
Yeah. I don't know if I can get. Do you think? All right, here we go. Is on Twitter. Who said it? Christina said, "I love some KK, but he hasn't earned that yet. Like that elite top contract."
Interesting.
Joey, what do you think? Mel, why do you think? Tell us why he's so important to this Panthers offense. I mean, defense.
Well, I mean, we're built on the front seven. That's where we are, and we don't have Julius Peppers anymore. We don't have Charles Johnson in his prime. We don't have those elite defensive ends. And to really make a difference in this league, and especially with our defense, you got to get pressure up the middle. You got to have that run stuffer. That's what we got in Starla Tulele.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to have somebody that can shoot those gaps, that can get off the ball quick. And if you remember, when Gettleman took him in the second round, it was a little bit of a surprise, and he said he had the best get-off the ball than anybody in the draft. And that's exactly what he's done. He is in Drew Brees' and Meg Ryan's face at every turn.
He is.
He had his numbers, Joey, last year. He played 16 games. He had 11 sacks. He had 4 pass defends, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. He had a pretty darn good.
I wish we could see his pressures. See how many pressures he had. But I know I'm sure he had a ton.
How many defensive ends out there that make over $10 million a year that did not
don't get 11
million? Right.
Sue had 6 sacks last year.
Exactly.
I'm sure his agent's going to point that out.
Exactly.
So he's played 3 full seasons. This will be his 4th in the league. We get him this year. You don't think we franchise tag him next year, do we? I mean, I think
if a deal worked out.
Yeah. I bet you we get a deal before this season.
Yeah.
But if his agent is headstrong like Norman's agent, if he has Norman's agent, then yeah, we're not letting him go.
Right.
He will be franchised.
Yes. I think his number is going to be 15 to 17 million. I think he is going to sign a deal. He's 27.
Wow,
yeah,
that's
27.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is?
He was 24 when he came in the league?
Yeah.
Wow.
Short? Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is 27 years old.
Wow.
So,
Like, you better get him now.
Yeah,
He's in his prime.
It's going to be like a 3-4 year deal. It's going to be like probably 80 million with like 50, maybe 52 or 50 of it guaranteed.
How's a guy supposed to live on that, man?
I know, right? So you know, it's going to be a deal that makes him a ton of money because he's only supposed to make what, $2 million this year, and I think they'll probably set it up to where he's going to make maybe $12 million this year, And you know he's going to take that. Who's not going to take $12 million?
Especially in a
You know
league
what
where
I
you
mean?
can a defensive tackle, man. You blow out that knee,
Right,
you better get that
exactly.
guaranteed money while you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I think too.
He's also got to think this is that realistically, how much better of a season could he have?
Right.
I mean, certainly he could do better, right?
Sure.
But that's a
if
pretty darn elite season for a defensive tackle, 11 sacks.
if the teams start to double team him and start to solo block Star, then his numbers will change.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Shakid on YouTube said this, Joe, is he said we need to keep Star, end of story.
Yes, I agree. That's it. We do. I won't argue that.
So you don't think?
However, let me throw an asterisk in there. All right, let me throw a little bomb in the middle of the room. You're not going to pay KK Short $17 million and then turn around and pay Star anything that you have to keep him. You're not going to pay him $15 million too.
No, you are not. You're right.
So if Star's agent says I want KK money, we won't be able to afford it. And guess what? That's probably another reason why Vernon Butler makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Do you think he could? Do you realistically think that Star could even ask for KK money right now?
No. But
he hasn't put up the numbers.
I didn't think Josh Norman could ask for the highest paid cornerback in the league type money either. So you never know with these guys.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely. You know, Star, we've seen that he has had somewhat of an injury history. The foot has been problematic for him. I believe he had a little of that foot in his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, you got to think this is that they are going to be evaluating him closely this season in his, they get him for this season and next, right?
Yep, first round extra year.
5 years.
So you have a long time before you really got to mess with Star, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. They'll start thinking about it this time next year.
Right, exactly right.
So
he's going to try to have a huge year this year.
He would need to, right? He needs to be healthy.
Right, exactly. I'm sure his agent's talking to him about this too. Coming in the best shape of his life, making sure that foot is right and ready to go because he needs to play all 16 games this year. His agent's looking at a payday too. So he's motivated to get Star in the best possible place to start this season coming.
No doubt.
All right. I saw also on I follow the Carolina Panther players, try to follow them on Twitter and things, and Jeremy Cash appears to be taking on the undrafted kind of, I guess, persona or position. Obviously he was undrafted and the Panthers got him, and that was, one of those kind of magical grabs. We think it tells us a lot about him wanting to play with the Panthers. But if you look on his Twitter page, he's got the undrafted show logo on his Twitter page. I don't know if I haven't looked into it because I just saw it today. If he's going to be on that, is it NFL Network or ESPN that does it?
I think it's NFL Network.
So NFL Network does a series last year. Brandon Wager was this kind of star of that, and the one that actually made it. He made it on team. I wonder if Jeremy Cash is going to be stepping into that role in that show. Joey, do you like watching things like that?
I do. I like watching that. Hard Knocks. My favorite show like that is Ballers on HBO.
Is it good?
It's really good, man. It's really a good show. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but
I haven't.
It's a great show. But those kind of shows, especially the reality. Ballers is fictional, but the reality show, it's true because you kind of get to feel emotionally attached, I guess, to the players. You feel their struggle. You get to see what their life is like at home.
Let let me ask you this: would you want to see the Panthers on Hard Knocks?
Not this year. At some point, I think it would be cool, but we're so close right now, and we're still a relatively young team. I don't want the distraction.
Yep, I agree.
So
I would watch
maybe-
every episode, but
Yeah.
What if we did this? What if we won the Super Bowl and then we did it?
I would be
There-
perfectly fine with that.
Talk
See,
about yours.
Once the Panthers win the Super Bowl, my bucket list is checked, man. I
Right.
don't need anything else. I don't
We
need
can do
anything.
it right.
We can do it. We can go on to Hard Knocks after that.
Right.
I don't know. Imagine Cam Newton on Hard Knocks. Oh my gosh.
He would be hamming it up, or camming it up.
Yeah, I mean, he just the dress, it would be a lot of glitz.
Yeah.
And everybody saying no, death to a team.
Yeah.
That's
And
why we do
still
it
no after the Super Bowl. Still no after the Super Bowl. I say yes, because imagine what that would do for
exposure.
Yeah, the city, for the team, the franchise.
Right.
Speaking of that, let's go on ahead since. Well, how about? Do you guys think that Cash makes the team?
Absolutely.
Really?
If nothing else, as a special teamer, I bet.
Okay. I saw that Ken was talking about it may be funny if we take a linebacker and turn him into a safety, and then a safety into the linebacker, because I think Cash was a safety in college, and we're trying to project him as a linebacker.
Yeah.
And I don't know who he was referring to as
Thomas Davis.
No, but a linebacker that we're going to turn into a safety. I don't know if he was saying it couldn't have been Shaq. I missed the back end of the conversation of who it would have been, but he was saying that it was ironic that if that's what we tried to do, and wait and see. So I don't know who. We'll keep an eye. Well, I'll ask Ken about that.
Well, if you remember in Thomas Davis's rookie year, we tried to make him a safety,
Mm-hmm.
and he blew
Well, he
the
played
New Orleans
safety
game.
in college, right? I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a safety in college. He was just a really big one.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, yeah, and then when he got to the NFL, they brought him in and kind of played him at linebacker, and we played the Falcons. He was brought in to be the stopper for Michael Vick.
Yes. That's
yeah,
right.
he was the Michael Vick stopper.
Yeah,
And,
he was the spy, right?
Right. And they had him at safety that first year, but he played so well in those games that they were like, well, let's move him to backer, and he's been at home ever since. I think they kind of drafted him with the idea of, hey, we're going to kind of play him real close to the line and see how he does, and he excelled. And the good thing is he was able to bulk up, too. You know what I mean? Because you can't be a linebacker at like 210 pounds. At least not a very effective one.
Yeah, is that what you say, 210 at safety?
Yeah. At safety you can play, but at linebacker you can't weigh 210 pounds.
Do you remember when we talked to Will Witherspoon? And Will said that when he weighed in at the combine, that he only weighed like 212.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he said that he drank like a gallon of water before he got on the scale to add some weight. He said, I got on there with a belly full of water. So you never know what the guys weigh in. It's almost like in a kind of like the boxing match, what the weigh in and what the fight weight is.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
How about this? Since the Carolina Panthers rescinded the franchise tag on Josh Norman, we've talked a lot about that, and we mentioned earlier that clearly that money is going to be diverted to securing the core, which Dave Gettleman has said. He's had some very candid interviews. I'd suggest you guys to go to WFNZ 610 The Fan. They had a fantastic interview on Mac Attack with Dave Gettleman, and he really opened up. And what was really cool about what Mac did is that Chris McClain, he he asked him some tough questions, man. He didn't back down. He kind of pushed him on the Josh Norman thing. He pushed him on the corners. I was impressed because I think that if I talked to Dave Gettleman, I would just be like, so how you going to set up the next master plan? But with this, I just saw related to the Norman thing is that Norman.
I hear you got a big shout out for your interview skills here recently, didn't you?
I did. Colin Hoggard from the Call Up sent me a message saying talking about how he enjoyed the interview we had with Max Henson. It was pretty neat to know that he was listening. So that was cool. Thanks for tuning in, and we love that feedback from everybody to see how we're doing. You know, so many people every now and then will drop me a line. And, you know, we don't really know, especially people that listen on the podcast later. So feel free to email us, tweet us. You can find all that information on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. But back to Norman, they're going to be, according to OverTheCap.com, Nick writes, and Nick doesn't give his last name, that he's going to be watching to see if Carolina qualifies for compensatory picks with Norman, because we lose him to free agency. He gets, you know, the money he commanded, and depending on his success this year and how much he makes, right? Depends on what our draft pick could be. And he says, based upon Jeremiah Trotter qualifying in 2003 after his franchise tag was rescinded by Philadelphia on April 6th, which we rescinded ours on April 20th, he says this could be a good possibility.
That would be great.
What do you get? 4th round pick or something for Norman if he goes and has
a 4th? I was thinking more a 3rd.
Really? Could you get that high in a compensatory pick?
Yeah, that's when they start, at the very end of the 3rd round. Yep.
Okay. Wow, that would be amazing.
Because he was an all-pro, you know, the year he had, I would say him to be definitely worth a 3rd. You know, I didn't know if we could get it since we rescinded the tag, but after hearing the Jeremiah Trotter story, then definitely.
Here's my prediction, though. He's going to be in a brand new scheme. He's not going to be the player he was. Washington does not have KK Short getting 11 sacks up the middle. He's not going to have a Pro Bowl year, in my estimation, as of today. Go prove
they
me
may,
wrong,
but what if they run a similar type defense, though? He could thrive.
Well, maybe they'll change it up.
We'll see.
Do they run a man-to-man scheme? I don't know if they do.
Chocolate Wonderland, if you're out there, hit us up. Let us know what Washington runs, because I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, Joe, we are in desperate need to sell some crap.
Yes, we are. We are wanting you guys to get all your Carolina Panthers gear from Amazon.com, but do so through the C3 website. Go visit us at the CarolinaCatChronicles.com site. Hit the shop tab and click on Amazon and get all your Panthers gear there, and it will be doing us a favor. Amazon throws a little bit of change our way every time somebody visits their site and makes a purchase through CarolinaCatChronicles.com. So show your support and your fandom for us by shopping Amazon through the C3 website, and we're very thankful for it.
If you buy something through there, send us a message, and we'll read it out, and we'll tell everybody what kind of cool Panther gear. Also, as always, get your latest C3 gear. Carolina, get the Cam Wow. You can get the latest T-shirts from Carolina Cat Chronicles. You can even donate on the website to try to help us get going. And we got in a little trouble, Joe, so we're going to need to start digging into couch cushions. So right. We'll talk about that potentially in the Ice Up pick of the week this week. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we got coming up on the horizon Mel, do you know of any? Are you planning anything, or are you just hanging out in Hawaii?
Dude, it's like
He's just.
it's like 81 degrees out there. I'm going out drinking a few more of these tonight and a few more tomorrow. So I won't have anything.
What time is it there? What time is it there?
What time is it? It's 4:30.
What? It's 4:30 in Hawaii. Mokalakahiki, Kimono Wanaleu, past the Palmola. What do you guys remember in Wayne's World when he said that?
I do.
I was thinking, Mel, what you should just do is I'm surprised you're just not going to stay inside and write all night for CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
Yes, I'm sure.
I will think about it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I thought about it. No, I'm not going to do it.
There he goes. He's going to go get a lay. Go get a lay. So we do have a special kind of thing. I'm going to play it in clips. I'm going to put the full interview up on the website this week. We were able to catch up with Sean Isabella, writer for the News Star, and this is in Monroe, Louisiana. Very intimate relationship, close following of our first-round pick, Vernon Butler. So we caught up with him. We caught up with Sean to ask him what we got in our shiny new toy, Vernon Butler, this first-round draft pick. Also, and most notably, the guy that is going to be on the jersey for the winner of the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge this season. So you want to know everything about him, and you'll want to cheer for him. I think you're going to like what he has to say. But remember, you can check out the full interview and on the website later this week, and we'll talk about these parts after we give them a play. So here we go right now. Jackson College. Could you tell us why a guy who so many people saw as a first-round lock? Wrong part. I asked him, excuse me, it's going crazy, folks. I'm going crazy. I forgot to tell you that since I had some would you be surprised to say I had problems with the computer?
Hey, man, it wouldn't be C3 without it.
Right. We gotta have them.
Obviously, we just had some there because I mislabeled the parts, and that was the second part I was going to play first. So I asked him what we got in Vernon Butler, and here's how what he had to say. Our team. Sight. This is what he had to say. I don't know what he had to say. Good Lord, where is it?
Say what?
Well, Monroe, I believe. West Monroe.
There it is.
And he had 4 years under his belt, but the last two were where he kind of really made his money, or ended up making his money. He really blossomed into one of the better defensive tackles in the league in Conference USA after his junior year. He had a good junior year, but he took it to another level in during the off season and spring practice last spring, and then into summer workouts. And the story that always sticks out to me is when Louisiana Tech's coaching staff would tell me how Vernon Butler was unblockable, and it was funny because they would have to take him out of the game, or excuse me, they'd have to take him out of practice. I remember Skip Holtz, the head coach at Louisiana Tech, telling me a couple times, he would be yelling at his defensive coordinator saying, get Vernon out there, out of the play. I'm trying to run a rushing play or a passing play, and I don't need him in my backfield every time. So it was apparent going into his senior year that he was his stock was rising, but he thought about coming out after his junior year, but ended up staying, and that obviously turned out to be a really good decision. And he has long arms. You wouldn't tell, by even seeing him walk around, you'd never tell that he's 6'4", almost 330 pounds. He's really athletic. His mom ran track. His dad played basketball at ULM here in Monroe, Louisiana in the 80s. So he comes from an athletic background, and that's the thing that just always stands out is just how quick he is. And I know it necessarily didn't translate with some of his numbers. He didn't really test well at the combine. I think that was more just setting. I talked to him several times how he was kind of overwhelmed. You walk up to that starting line for the 40-yard dash, and you're looking around, and there's all these players, and in the stands or his coaches and GMs. So, he's from such a small place. I think that kind of overwhelmed him, and he didn't really test as well as he wanted to. And then he came back and trained, and for his pro day, he was able to run better. His vertical improved, his broad jump improved. He looked a lot better in his position drills. So I don't think it's necessarily the guy that ran the second slowest time among defensive linemen at the NFL Combine. And I don't really know if Carolina was even necessarily too concerned about that. Because you can just watch his film and he jumps up, jumps off the ball and into the backfield. That's what he was known for. And he's a really quiet guy, and that's the interesting thing. But he plays pretty angry. He plays really passionate. I remember Louisiana Tech's defensive coordinator telling me one time that he saw Vernon Butler with tears in his eyes, and he didn't know if that was because he was angry or sad or excited. But he joked that he didn't even ask. He just kind of gave him a hug and said, "Let's go play." So Carolina's getting a guy who has his best football ahead of him. That's what Louisiana Tech's coaching staff would always tell me.
Joe, that means to me, it sounds like he loves to play football.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right.
And
Sounds like
that
he's
might
passionate.
be a common theme. That might be a theme right there among the picks that we have. Look, man, Cam Newton loves to play football. Luke Kuechly loves to play football. Thomas Davis. These guys love the game so much that every week they just put it all on the line.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting to hear those types of things about Vernon Butler, Joey.
Absolutely, it is exciting when you have someone who's passionate about their craft and hearing this reporter who, I'm sure has had has seen many an athlete come through, Louisiana Tech. For him to say his best football is ahead of him really is exciting, because when you combine, passion with dedication, what you're able to achieve is really special. And maybe Vernon Butler can be imagine if we had two KKs.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it sounds like he's almost kind of a cross between Star and KK.
Right.
Is that it sounds like he has the savvy to get into the backfield. But those arms, dude, that's a run-stopping machine, too.
But another thing that I like about him is he played a little defensive end there in college. So there will be downs where you're going to have Coney Ely, KK Short, Star Lotulelei, and Vernon Butler on the field. And that's pretty good group.
What if you put like Coney Ely, KK, Vernon Butler, and then like Mario Addison on the line, and just went after them? Like third and long, just go get them. Just go get me that ball.
Just pin those ears back, right?
Bring me the quarterback.
You can't double team everybody.
No.
Right.
All right, so we were projecting that there's a lot of upside to him, but there's also that he didn't really put up a ton of numbers in college, and I asked Sean about that, and here's what he had to say. So Butler only had 5 sacks in college. Could you tell us why a guy who so many people saw as a first-round lock didn't put the quarterback on the ground more?
There's probably a lot of factors. His forte isn't pass rushing. I mean, he was predominantly a run stuffer, and the fact that a lot of teams would double team him, especially this past year. The more compelling stat I would look at is he had 8 quarterback hurries. So I mean that I can tell you one of two things: he's getting there. And he's not sacking the quarterback, but he was still in the backfield. It's not like he was, he wasn't getting after the quarterback. I think that will get better in time. The other thing that probably a lot of people don't understand is he had 4 defensive coordinators and 3 different defensive line coaches during his 4 years. So it was always, he had good coaches, but it was just constant changing, and that's why I say that his best football is ahead of him, because he still has a lot more to learn. I don't think that he'll just come in. I don't think the Panthers spent a first-round pick to get a guy who's just gonna, eat up blocks and help and run defense. I think they do see the potential in the pass rushing department. I think that he would probably tell you that he should have more sacks than that. So I guess the answer to the question, the simple answer to the question is that he's just learning. And I think that it's taken him a while to kind of figure out how to get in the backfield. But I think once he's kind of gets to hone those skills in and, gets under a consistent defensive line coach and a system, I would expect him to get a lot better in that department.
So a little kind of not a great situation of continuity in college.
Right.
He also mentioned he didn't play 2 years. He wanted to be a basketball player. He was set on becoming a basketball player, and he didn't play his freshman and sophomore year. He didn't play football in high school. And then I think I read that he stopped growing at 6'3" or something, or 6 foot, and they basically said, his dad said, "You're not going to be an NBA player. Focus on football." How is that? How is it having a kid where that they're going to just be a professional player in something? You just got to figure out what the sport is.
I wish I knew.
I can tell you one person that doesn't know, this guy right here, but Michael is playing his little heart out in some baseball right now. He's going to be a professional reader. I just hope he's not a professional blogger.
I know, right?
Right.
Go back and write your blog. Go write a blog about it. Right?
Go write a blog about it. All right. Some interest, Mel. What do you think when you hear these things about Vernon Butler, long arms, used in stuffing situations? He's going to be more diversely used with the Panthers, and not. I read he played 70 snaps a game in college.
Wow. That's a
lot
lot.
of fun.
So how do you, what can you do when you start rotating him and you get fresh legs with Soliai and him and Kawann and Starr? It's just going to be relentless.
It is, and it's going to give us a lot of insurance and security against injury, because I was listening to another Carolina Panthers podcast today on my flight out here, and it was from mid-season, and the guy was talking about Josh Norman coming back from concussion and Star Lotulelei perhaps not playing because of the foot. I'm not even sure what week it was, but he was talking about how devastating to our defense it was if Star could not play, because nobody else on the team had that type of skill set. Well, if one guy goes down, if Star or KK go down, you do have another big body that has similar skill sets. Like you said earlier, kind of a slash between the two of them that can fill in. So gives us a lot of security. One guy goes down, the season doesn't go down the drain with it.
Right.
Certainly. All right. So let's see. I think I got one more segment or maybe two. Let's see what else I asked Sean. Reports are that he was expected to go in the early teens. He mentioned the Lions as one team. He mentioned the Seahawks. Could you tell us why you think he may have fallen out of the teens? Maybe was this other players rising, or does this maybe have something to do with Butler himself?
No, I think it was just the draft flow. I talked to him Monday when he was back in Ruston, Louisiana, and there was a report out before the draft started of him on the red carpet saying that the Lions told him they were going to take him. And then the Lions general manager came out and refuted that, saying they don't tell anyone that they're going to take him. Well, I talked to him again Monday, and he stood by his claim. He said, they can say what they want, but I know what they told me. And they might have, or they probably did, but so much happened, as everyone knows, with the draft. There's trades. The whole Tunsil situation created a big mess in terms of him falling and other teams moving up and whatnot and what have you. So I don't necessarily think it was him dropping. I believe that the Lions were interested. I know the Bills were interested, but I just don't know how interested they were to pull the trigger that early. I always felt that he would go, or at least the sense around here was kind of maybe in the 20s, late first round. I don't even know if he was really a first round lock. I thought he may slip to the second because there were so many defensive tackles, and that's
Right.
the other thing you have to understand. He still went late in the first, but he was one of the first couple defensive tackles off the board.
Mhm.
You had the Alabama pair, Jaron Reed and Ashawn Robinson, who were stuck in the green room for an extra day, and they had to wait until the second round. A lot of people thought they might be first-round picks. So I think it just had more so to do with the fact there were so many defensive tackles and teams were kind of just weighing their options. But I think Butler certainly was happy that he landed in the late first round and didn't have to wait again till Friday to hear his name called.
Joey, that first round was kind of crazy. It seemed like the Panthers were darn excited when they saw, but they didn't waste any time. Right?
No, and from what I heard was he was their number one guy. He was at the very top of their draft board. And, well, obviously the guys they felt would be around when they were picking. And
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, man.
I was just going to add on to what you said. From what I heard, they had trades ready to be made, but when Vernon Butler was there, they said, "No, we're not going to trade down." There were 7 teams that called in wanting that pick, wanting to trade back into the top of the back into the first round.
And that was confirmed. That was confirmed by Max Henson when we talked to him. He was in the draft room.
Yep. And when they said Vernon Butler was there, they were like, "No, that's our guy. We're taking him."
Very interesting move. All right, some things going on YouTube. Joey, say it. Thank you. Now I'm just scared. He said, yeah, that's exactly what I got. He said that Paul Soliai might not make the team.
I thought about that.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
Love? Yeah.
They brought back Kyle Love.
We got talent, man. We got talent, and he could be the odd man out.
Wow. How is that big? That's crazy. That big boy. It seemed like we really targeted him, though.
Yeah, right. I agree. It seems like he was very meticulously selected.
Yeah, it did not. And what has Gettleman said over and over, that he uses free agency to set up the draft. Mm-hmm. So he used free agency to then draft another defensive tackle. I don't know how that set up the draft. I think he just had to go with it there.
Maybe the fact that Butler has played some defensive end was another thing. Well,
we put Short out on the end a couple of times last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Ely
when Coney was struggling.
Yeah, Ely will sometimes go inside and play tackle.
Yeah.
So we shift our guys all over the place, and obviously you're not going to put Soliai out there on defensive end, but everybody else can move around, and
versatility. Versatility is a good thing in the NFL.
Have you guys seen by any chance that video rolling around the internet about that guy that plays tight end that weighs like 360 pounds or whatever?
410.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, all right. It was 4. Yeah, and he looks like the damn Michelin Man.
He does, and he's got like 4.6 speed or something like that.
Whoa,
it's crazy. Yeah, you guys got to Google that.
He's huge, man.
Huge.
Paul Soliai, say it, Joe.
Paul Soliai?
No.
Oh, Shaquille?
Yeah, Shaquille says Paul Soliai that he is 31 years old on his last leg, coming off a bad season with the Falcons.
Yes. Oh, that is true.
Okay, a couple of other points on YouTube. Amanda Helms, thank you for tuning in. she's a regular viewer of the show. She said, tomorrow's Cam's birthday.
Oh, well, let's wish Cam a very happy early birthday, Mr. Cameron Newton.
And So6ick1. So sick one. I like that. So sick one asked, do you think Bradbury will be able to replace Norman, Mel?
Well,
It's Shaked. It's Shaked.
Shockhead. Okay. It's not Shaked, and it's not Shakib.
I think I want to call him Shaked. Shake it off. Shake it off.
Shake it like a Polaroid, right?
Players gonna hey. Oh.
Will Bradbury replace Norman? That's your question for me, right?
Yes.
Only time will tell, honestly. I mean, I was honestly surprised that we took Bradbury over Fuller. But, I was really surprised by that pick. But Gettleman knows way more than we do, and he set him in the room. He feels like he was a smarter player. But the reality is, how long did it take Norman to get good? It took him 3 years.
Yeah.
It's an awful lot to expect a rookie to come in and do what Norman did last year. I think that's an unrealistic request. So
Yeah,
I
agree.
We're going to take a step back in the secondary. So our front seven's going to have to step up, or we're going to need to sign some veteran leadership. I'd hate to
Which is
rely
still
on
possible once we get into training camps.
Absolutely.
And that sort of thing. It's definitely something that we will take a long, hard look at.
Hello, Antonio Cromartie.
Okay, speaking of Antonio Cromartie, he had his 12th kid this week.
You're kidding.
Yeah, 12 kids, 8 mothers, and he kind of no.
You're very serious. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I read this story. Now I'm going to tell you, if you see this story that Antonio Cromartie goes on a Twitter rant defending his like his family, all this stuff.
Choices.
Yeah, don't click it because it's total clickbait. Him going on a rant was basically saying, I'm not going to let this bother me. I love my family, my situation. I love my kids. It wasn't this rant, right? But a lot of children. I don't know. Is he really an option?
You know what? If he is in their lives and loves them and supports them, hey, who are we to judge, right? Now, I could judge him if he goes out there and just has all these children and doesn't take care of them because that pisses me off. But if he's taking care of them, if he loves them, hey, there's worse things in the world.
Oh, this can't be true. So sick one says got a vasectomy and still got a woman pregnant.
Unbelievable.
That happened to my buddy. He got a vasectomy, and his first of all, I love this is they're Catholic, but they like not practicing Catholics, right? And we all know that this is a hotbed issue for us Catholics, and I said, you can't do that. You're Catholic. He's like, I didn't know that. I never heard that. Like that wasn't. So, but obviously he didn't hear that it doesn't work either for him because what you have to do is you got to go to your follow-up appointment, right? It's a little odd, what you have to do. You got to bring them a personal gift, and thank you present, and they got to check it first. He didn't go, and his wife 40 years old, they have a kid. Their youngest kid is like 8 ahead of this baby. Back at it.
Gosh.
So boys and girls, ladies and gents, if you do decide to walk down that road, make sure you finish it.
Follow up. Make sure you go
follow through.
Remind me to tell you a joke about that. Later,
he said, so sick one said, remembering birthdays must be crazy.
It's true.
Like, what if you just like rented a party boat and did 6 at a time?
That's the way to go right there.
So, or what about this? Is at work, anytime there's a birthday, they like to have a party, like a potluck, where everybody brings something and they just leave the food out around lunchtime. And it got to the point where we were doing it. It felt like every other damn week. So they started doing like April birthdays. You know, I wonder if that's how. Is that how the Cromarties celebrate? Is like, if you have a birthday in May, raise your hand. We will be celebrating on the third Tuesday. Everybody bring a gift.
So what do you think at the Cromartie family reunions? You think they got to take like 2 big minivans, just fill the kids up, right? You can't do it in one vehicle. You could do it in one vehicle.
What if we do get Antonio Cromartie? What if we do the C3 Cromartie family reunion shirt? You know how like people do family reunion T-shirts, Joey?
Yeah.
Oh, the Cromartie family. The C.
Family.
He's a C. All right.
Yes, he can.
I got one last little. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Missy Russell out there, very loyal follower out there, says that she is winning the Butler jersey this year. So for all
there you go. That's a challenge. The gauntlet has been slapped down.
That's it. Fantasy football just around the corner. 2 months away, we'll start really getting into fantasy football.
All right, so Shaked says that Cam and Israel share a birthday. So go. What would you say? What would you call it, Joey? The Holy State?
What, Israel? It would be,
It's the Holy Land.
The Holy Land, yeah.
Okay, so happy birthday to the Holy Land tomorrow, and Cam Newton, also the kid named Chosen, maybe some things there. And Lisa Moss says that Cromartie just yells, "Hey you," because he can't remember the kids' names. All right, I got one last segment I wanted to play from the Sean Isabella interview, and then we're gonna get our ice up picks of the weekend, and then get on out of here. Here we go. I asked him about Kawann Short's style.
We have a lot of style on our team. Guys are
not Kawann, Vernon Butler.
Like, we have a good locker room. We never hear about them off the field, but they do like to express themselves. I mean, Cam Newton wears slippers and capris. He looks like a Mary Kay salesperson at times. We hear Butler has some style, too. He talked about this in an interview you had with him that you published yesterday, and he said something to the effect that he was going to give Cam Newton a run for his money. Tell us a little bit about how his style reflects his personality.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's quiet, but he kind of represents himself, and his clothing is very loud, which is almost the complete opposite of his personality. That's probably the most interesting part to me. But he's always been like that. I remember, I was joking with him. I showed him a picture. I pulled it up from when he signed in high school in 2012, and he kind of looked like Urkel, a big Urkel. He had his glasses, a bow tie, and a hat, and a Louisiana Tech hat, and his colors were kind of all out of whack, mismatched and whatnot. But he's always had a sense of style. His mom was telling me how she always used to have tons of pairs of shoes growing up, and Vernon would sit in her closet and count the shoes and say, "Mom, you don't need any more shoes. You have enough in here." And now she's saying that to him. He told me probably about 50 pairs of Jordans he has. I think he said in the press conference around 40, so I guess 40 or 50. He's kind of into designer shoes now. He said, I asked him if he's going to invest in anything or, buy anything. He bought a car recently, but he said not really. He's going to save his money, but he is interested in maybe getting a few more pairs of designer shoes. So he's always had this sense of style. He likes his black rim glasses. He likes his Ray-Ban glasses, and he likes his shoes. He was one of the first guys I probably saw in the high school ranks to do the bow ties. You see it now all the time when recruits sign and what have you. But yeah, he's always been that way. And it was funny because we were talking earlier this week, about his style and how he fit in with the Panthers, and we're talking about Cam, and he said Thomas Davis texted him, and they kind of bonded instantly over the style aspect of their personalities. And I guess Thomas Davis mentioned something about his shoe collection. He said, "Nah, man. I mean, I'm nowhere compared to you. You're kind of an NFL vet, and you've got a few steps ahead of me." So that's kind of an interesting thing about that, is how he is able to connect with some of the guys on the team just over their sense of style.
Yeah, wait until he sees Cam Newton's cleat collection. All right. Look, thanks so much for taking time out of your day and for the insight. Panther fans will want to know. They will want to follow your work. I know you just put out an interview that you had with Vernon Butler. Can you tell them how they can follow that interview and you specifically?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, st_Isabella TNS, and the work can be found on thenewstar.com. And the last couple of days, I've tweeted out some stuff about him with the Q&A. That's about a 30-minute conversation with him, so that can be found at thenewstar.com.
So that's Sean Isabella from thenewstar.com talking about Vernon Butler. Somebody said that it was Lisa that said I pulled a Cromartie and called my child the wrong name when I called him Kawann Short. I think that, is there a rule that when you get a lot of kids, and I guess the magic number is 3, I just yell at my kids random names. My grandmother never has, I don't know if she's ever called me by my real name first.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's always Steve, like all of my cousins or my uncles, and she just cycles through them.
Growing up, going to my grandmother's house, I thought my name was Steve Aaron. It's the way it goes, man.
I hear you. All right. Trying to think of what else. I had something else to say about the show and things going on. I wanted to mention, did you guys, and I'm going to talk about it in my Ice Up pick of the week, but did you guys watch that basketball game last night?
No, I did not.
Was it too late for you, Joe? Yeah. It was so late. It was so damn late.
It was too late for me, man.
Oh, what would you, like, it ended at 2 a.m. here, so what time was that in L.A.? 11?
11. Nope, that's too late for
and
me.
You went to sleep? That's crazy. I don't know how you went to sleep in that thing. That was awesome, that game. Steph Curry.
40 points, baby.
We got to get him to Charlotte.
I would trade our next 10 years of first-round draft picks to get that guy. 10 years. I'd do it. Do it tomorrow.
I agree. Hey, you know what? Is that we've had 10 years of first-round draft picks in Charlotte, and none of them have done shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
come on, Steph.
Okay. Joe, do you got a prepared Ice Up pick for us this week, or are you off the cuffing it?
I'm off the cuffing it today.
Are you ready?
I know what I want to talk about. Last week we mentioned it, but I didn't do the Ice Up pick. I didn't find out, and I didn't know enough information then. But my Ice Up pick this week is former presidential candidate Teddy Cruz. Now, Teddy, you're just a big baby. You didn't win the state that you wanted to win to think you had a shot at the presidency. So you suspended your campaign. And I was watching the news today, and you said that you would not rule out a return to the campaign if you got enough votes and you saw that there was a path to the presidency. Well, that is trying to have your cake and eat it too.
Seriously. Jeez.
Now, you're either going to be in the race because you really truly want to be president, or you just want to see how popular you really are, and you don't want to take the role of president seriously. But either way, at this point, I think it's best for you to stay out because you dropped out. Now stay out. We don't want you. You're not a very serious politician if you're waffling and waning on whether or not you want to campaign.
So what do you say to him, Joe?
So, Mr. Teddy Cruz, I say to you, sir, ice up, son, and stay the hell out of the White House.
Well done.
Stay out of the White House. Okay, Mel, what you got for us?
All right, what is two things I'll talk about tonight that I hate. Anyway, I hate a lot of things like Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Bucks, Oakland Raiders. I can go on and on.
I find myself not liking to wear red clothes.
Ooh, I hear you.
Like I don't even like. I hate the Falcons so much. I don't even like to wear red clothes anymore.
That's fair enough. I almost stopped drinking Coca-Cola and quit watching Time Warner Cable. All those things. Atlanta, off the list. But anyway, two things I'll talk about tonight. One, I hate arrogance, and two, I hate when somebody does something to a member of my family, puts them down, or is arrogant to a member of my family. And if you're a part of C3, you're a part of the C3 family, so you're a part of my family. A few days ago, one Nathan Conley from WFNZ, I'm calling out one of the big boys.
Oh, wow.
Nathan Conley calls out a member of the C3 family. One Miss Abby puts out a very valid point when talking about why Dave Gettleman rescinded the franchise tag. She points out, hey, gives us flexibility, gives us money to do some other things long term that we want to do. And it's okay to disagree with that statement. You could argue that all you want, but Mr. Nathan Conley comes out, and one thing I hate is when somebody gives an opinion about sports and doesn't do it in a manner of saying, hey, I disagree and here's why, but rather comes out and what he says is, Abby, what you are saying fails to hold water. Like, you're the judge and jury, dude. And I pointed out to him what his point was, he was saying signing to the franchise tag for 1 year, not long term. You still have long term flexibility. Well, guess what? They've all of a sudden started to talk to KK Short this year. They could use that $14 million this year to soak up or to lock up KK for the long term. Instead of just disagreeing, he tells a member of the C3 family, your opinion does not hold water. Well, you know what? I call BS, Nathan Conley. I think your response didn't hold water, and like I told him, Abby knows more about football than he does. So C3 girl gang, you step out there, you say what you think, and everybody out here on C3 has your back. We got your back.
We got your back. And just to let you know, how do we know Abby knows more about football? Number one, Abby pulls for what team?
Panthers,
baby.
What team does Nathan Conley pull for?
Patriots.
Yep. Enough said. Cheater. Cheated in the argument. I say take it to Congress. And look, not only does it hold water, it's exactly what happened. Gettleman came on WFNZ and said it was all about the allocation of money is why they just decided that they were going to go a different way. Mm-hmm. Lock up your core, and it's clear that our core is Cam, our core is Luke Kuechly, and our core is Kawann Short.
It's okay to say my opinion is or I think, but don't come out there and tell somebody like you're, just some big bully that says your opinion doesn't hold water. You're not right. Yeah. You're wrong. You know what?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Give your opinion, but don't talk down to people. Just because you're on a show doesn't mean you know more than some awesome chick in Atlanta that used to live in Charlotte that wants to get back. That chick knows more than you do, Nathan. I said
True it. That. Ice up. All right. My ice up pick, we are really going hard at the Charlotte media this week. My ice up pick goes to Joe Person. And Joe Person, last night around mid-third quarter, halftime of that Golden State game goes, should they really keep playing Curry? ? And then he put hashtag save your bullets. Well, the dude just single-handedly demolished the Portland Trailblazers last night. And one of the best performances you have to have ever seen in basketball. Guy coming off an injury, having trouble with his legs and his wind, after 2 weeks of not playing basketball, struggled in the first half to get a rhythm, and then just gets dialed in doing everything. He grabbed a damn offensive rebound at one point. He was jacking up threes from 40 feet. And I saw that Bill Vose said, he doesn't have the legs to be jacking that up from there. And he missed it, but he was only 3 inches short. And then 2 minutes later, he comes and dogs that three with another one. He was driving the lane, he was dishing the ball, and then going into overtime, he scored 17 points and single-handedly ripped the hearts out of every fan, ripped the voice out of every fan in that stadium. It was a dagger. It was a deadly performance. And how could you not keep him in? It was amazing. Steph Curry is the best shooter I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I'm going to stand by it. He's the best shooter in the history of basketball.
I agree. Come on home, Steph.
So to you, Joe Person, ice up. I also saw Klay Thompson's pretty dang good, too. And he hit a three last night, and the net didn't move. How you do that? He literally hit a three, and the net did not move. I didn't even know it went in.
Now, I've had a few three-pointers where the net didn't move, but it wasn't because I made it.
Right, it's because you missed the whole thing.
Exactly. It was like a Dwight Howard free throw shot.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right.
What can I say?
This is the C3 podcast. We're going to wrap it up. We're a little long. Lisa Boss says, I'm clapping already for my ice up pick. She says, I tell Person every day that he needs to be reporting on badminton. It's kind of true. It's so true. If you look at his latest tweet right now, he's co-signing on Billy Donovan has quietly had an incredible first year as a coach.
Wow.
And the Thunder are the same exact team that they always have been. So They don't even need a coach.
No,
I don't even know why they have a coach. I heard one. You know what, Joe? Is if you drew up a play, you knew one thing is who wouldn't listen to it. Russell Westbrook.
He wouldn't. He does his own
He
thing.
would just do whatever the hell he wanted to.
That's right.
All right. That's the C3 podcast. Joey, tell them how they can find our website, how they can follow us, and how they can follow you.
You can find us at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It is the place for all the hottest Panther takes from the fan perspective. Just remember, folks, that we're fans and we do this for you, the fan. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano, and you can find our website. You can find our Twitter handle is at cat_chronicles.
Mel, tell them where you are at and how they can come visit you.
Catch me anytime on Twitter at Panthers Drafter. All right, I'm out there to talk Panthers football anytime. I'm also the draft analyst over at Draft Tech. We just put out our draft grades, which I gave the Panthers a B for, but you can go read why if you want. But check us out anytime, Carolina Cat Chronicles. And if you, too, would like to write for Cat Chronicles, hit us up. Let one of us three know. We're looking for more writers.
Make it happen.
It's all about the voice of Panther Nation.
That's right.
It's the C3 podcast, folks, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. The C3 family is growing. Lisa, we love you as well. Shaked, as always, it was real. Happy birthday to Israel. Happy birthday to Cam Newton. And happy birthday to the birth of something special in Carolina with what is going to be a fantastic season. Next week we'll be back Tuesday night talking about the Carolina Panthers. But until then, just keep it real, folks.
Peace out.